Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to my channel. So today is day 22 of our complete DevOps course and this is going to be a special one because we'll be talking about project management as in what would a DevOps engineer do once he joins the organization, like what will be the first 1 week or how does the first 1 month look like. So we have talked about the DevOps roadmap. Many people are learning DevOps through YouTube or people are following content on various other platforms and finally they get into the organization or they start working as a DevOps engineer. But it is important to understand, right, what we have to do once we join the organization. So some people might be switching from a different background into DevOps, or some there are some freshers who are joining as DevOps engineers, and there are people with career gaps. So this video will mainly focus in understanding what are the tools and what are the concepts that you need to understand apart from the technical aspects, right? So we all understand the technical concepts because we read through a lot of theory and do some practical projects at our end by following the YouTube videos. But this video is going to be a different one, perfect one. So what we will try to do is we'll try to look into some top tools, or some tools that every organizations use to track their work, or to understand how their project is going. So that's why we call it project management. So the first thing and the most important thing that you should understand is Agile. So Agile is a very big topic, and definitely will not be talking about Agile in this video, but I'm going to give you an insight of what Agile is and why you have to understand the concept of Agile. So basically, Agile is a methodology, okay, or it's a process. And the fundamental idea of Agile is to, instead of the traditional waterfall method, what we usually do is we get a feature either from the product owners or from the business analyst. Once the product is finalized, what usually happens is there is a phase. If you remember the software development lifecycle that we talked about, there is a phase where you define your idea, where you describe your idea as part of some high level design and low level design. We prepare the design specifications, and after that, this goes to the developer. Then developer writes the application code, then it goes to the QE, and finally it moves to the customer. So if you are using a traditional waterfall method, everything happens in one single go. So let's say you have to build one microservice. So you design the entire architecture for the microservice, or you design the architecture for the entire feature in one go, and you get the product design documents, reaches the developers, and they write the code for the entire application. It might take some 2 months, 3 months. So you keep writing, and once your 3 months, 4 months, or 5 months is done, you say that okay, my feature or my new microservice is ready. Let me promote this to the customer. So this is one way of doing it, and this is called the waterfall way of doing it. Whereas what you do with Agile is you break this microservice or your feature into multiple chunks. So you divide them into simple parts. And instead of working on the entire feature or the microservice for 3 to 4 months, you just deliver the parts to your testing team. Okay, or you deliver the parts to your staging or the dev environment, like in couple of weeks or in 3 weeks, whatever you define as your sprint. So sprint is again a new terminology for some people. It's basically like the timeline that you define, in which you say that okay, for the next 3 weeks or for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to work on part of this new feature, and I'm going to deliver this part of new feature to the staging or dev environment where QE can perform the testing. So this is how Agile is efficient. Like instead of you waiting for the QE team has to literally wait for all the 4 months, 5 months, they continuously work on their backlog or they work on the other test automation parts, and once the developers say that okay, my application is ready, then it moves to the QE state and they work on the testing of the product. Or even for the developer, it's a tedious activity because for the complete 4 to 5 months they work on the entire feature. Sometimes it happens that they don't have a clear roadmap because you are building the entire application in one single go. Whereas if you're doing it in parts, what happens is you deliver a part of the application to the QE, and QE will immediately tell you that okay, something is not working fine. So you can go back and you can redesign your priorities. So this is the advantage of using Agile methodology. So you do things in simple step-by-step approach. So this is called as Agile. Now, why you should need to understand Agile? Because if you are going to an organization, let's say in a DevOps role or development role or any role, And these days 90% of the organizations are already in agile methodology. So if you don't understand this concept, and let's say you are an experienced engineer and you are migrating, or sorry, you are switching your career from one domain to the other domain. Let's say you are moving from development, or you are moving from QE or BSc background, or any specific backgrounds to DevOps engineer. So your organization will at least expect you to understand the concept of agile. Now you might ask me, where do I learn this agile? How do I understand what are the different things? Like, you have sprint planning, you have sprint retrospective, you have a lot of things as part of your agile. So to understand this, there are bunch of materials that are present online. The best resource is you can go to the Wikipedia and start learning about agile in Wikipedia. From there, you also have some useful reference links in Wikipedia, or that's how I learned. So you can also learn in the same way. So here in the diagram, I just try to explain, like, this is one reference that I try to put here. But saying that there is no standard definition of agile, you can define, every organization defines agile in their own methodology. Like I told you, some organizations work in 2 week sprint, some organization work in 3 week sprint. They have their own estimations, they have their own way of doing planning, retrospective, etc., etc. So firstly, have good understanding of how agile works. Now, the second thing that I would suggest is try out Jira by yourself. Okay, so Jira is nothing but it's a platform. You can consider it a kind of a platform that implements Agile. Now, I'm not giving 100% right definition, but Jira is a tool which is used to implement your project management, where you can track your work. For a very basic example, let's say there is a CEO, and the CEO wants to look into all the priority one issues in the entire organization. Now he cannot typically go to each and every manager and ask, or draft a mail and ask all the managers what are the priority issues. Instead, there will be one centralized Jira board where somebody who already knows Jira can go there, write a Jira query to pull all the Jira issues or Jira epics or stories or bugs with priority one as issue, and they get list of information, like, where the organization has priority one issues in the entire uh, you know uh, projects. So this is how Jira is useful, and this is at the central level or the high level. And if you go one step down, Jira is also used to track your projects. Like, let's say I'm working in a development team of 10 members, and my manager wants to assign tasks, or during your when we're talking in the agile terminology, you have a scrum master who does your sprint planning. You get all the stories that are prioritized or groomed as part of your backlog grooming. And once you enter your sprint, so you have a list of activities, like you can go to your Jira board and see which stories are assigned to you. Okay, so and even when somebody wants to track your work, let's say somebody wants to understand what Abhishek did 3 weeks ago, or what Abhishek did as part of the last quarter, so they can track all of these things as part of Jira. Also, your team's velocity, or your team's efforts that you are putting in a sprint, and how much you are able to accomplish, and how much your team is filling up for the next sprints, or next cycle. This also can be tracked using Jira. So efficiently, it's a project management tool, and one should definitely have good understanding of Jira. So let's say you have a good understanding of technical things on DevOps or any other thing, but if you're not able to understand how Jira is working, it's not a rocket science. I think hardly it will take 1 or 2 days to understand the entire workflow of Jira. So just spend a couple of hours, or just spend a couple of days to make yourself comfortable with Jira. Now, some people might say that, okay, you have been talking about Agile. You told that Agile I can understand using following Wikipedia documents, but Jira is a practical tool, right? So for Jira, what I would recommend is, somebody who is willing to learn Jira, what they can do is I'll show you how to create a trail account, or let me show you that. So what even I have done in the past is I have created a license of Jira. So, Jira provides you a temporary license. Let me share my screen and show you. So you can follow the same steps. What you can do, I hope you are seeing the right screen. Just give me a second for the screen to load. Sorry for that. Yeah, perfect. Now you should be able to see the screen. And what I would suggest is, firstly, go here. Okay, so what I typed in Google is just download Jira. So you can also do the same thing. And once you enter the Jira dashboard, this one, the Atlassian dashboard, what you can do is click on this one, start your 30 days free trial. And the most important thing is it is not similar to your AWS or other platforms where you provide your your credit card details or the things. Here you can download Jira for free and you can try Jira by yourself, right, at your home. Just click on learn how, and what it will say is to log into the Atlassian. uh, I would say create an account with Atlassian, or if you have Google, you can just log into Gmail, just log into Atlassian using single sign-on, which is like equivalent to creating an account in Atlassian, because the Atlassian tools are very popular for this project management. After a while, we'll also talk about tools like Confluence, which is again a Atlassian account. You can get familiar at your end by creating a dummy account or just a trail account with Atlassian. So select one of the products. You can say anything. For myself, I'll just say Insight, or you can just say you are trying Jira Bitbucket as integration, or you are just playing around with Bitbucket, anything that you want to say. Okay, so just say Insight, select this option here, provide the details of your organization. I just said my dummy org, provide whatever you like to, then click on generate license. So this will generate a dummy license for you. After this, you can directly download the app, okay, and just follow the steps that are provided here, install the application, apply your license, and you will get a Jira instance at your home. Okay, on your personal laptop, you'll get a Jira instance where you can try out all of these things. Just get familiar with the user interface, just see what are the things that you can do with the Jira platform itself, right? So this way you can get acquainted to the platform, and once you join the organization, you can be comfortable at your end. When somebody says that, okay, what is your status, or what is the current work that you are doing, where you are up to, what is the definition of done, so you don't have to get scared, and you can try out all of these things at your end. So click on the download button. I already have a Jira instance, so I cannot do that one more time and show you, but just click on the download button, then follow the instructions that are provided here. I'll share this link in the description, don't worry about it. So try out by yourself, and if you get any questions, yeah, definitely let me know in the comment section. So this is about Jira. Now let's move to the next tool and try to understand what is the other tool that you have to get familiar with. So let me stop sharing and go back to my this one here again. Sorry, I have to switch the screens in between today. Right. So now if we go back to the next tool that I have here. So the next tool that we'll be talking about is Confluence. So what is Confluence? Confluence is basically a knowledge sharing platform. Okay, people might have different definition to it, but Confluence, or the next one that we are also talking about, SharePoint. So Confluence and SharePoints are knowledge sharing platforms. Now, what is knowledge sharing platform? Knowledge sharing platform is just like, let's say, you are working on a specific application that is like internal to your organization. For example, if you're working on Amazon Web Services, or if you're working on Azure cloud provider, if you want to refer to the documentation, what you will usually do is you go to their official documentation website and you start referring to the document content there. But if you're working in an organization and your organization has a product that is internally used by your team only, okay, it can be any microservice, or it can be any application that you want to use for your office work related tracking or something. So there has to be a place where the documents have to be placed, right? You cannot put all of your organizational documentation or your information onto a public platform. So Confluence and SharePoint are one such platforms where they will provide you a single sign on. You can integrate it with your organizational LDAP, and everybody gets to create an account. And similar to Jira, every project can create their own pages or projects inside Confluence, and they can start working on it, right? So this is about the Confluence and the SharePoint point of view. They are the document or knowledge sharing platforms. If I have to give one more simple example, let's say there is one person in your organization who has built entire CI/CD system. Now, if this person leaves the organization, there has to be an efficient way how this knowledge has to be transferred to the developers or DevOps engineers who are coming after he left the organization, or even the junior DevOps engineers who are currently part of the organization. So that's why every such information is documented as part of Confluence and SharePoint. Okay, I mean, these are just the two tools that I have for you today. There are hundreds of tools, but you cannot get yourself acquainted with all of these things. So if you have already created the Atlassian account for trying out Jira by yourself, similarly you can use the same account to try Confluence. Both of them are Atlassian things. You can use the same license, or you can create another license for Confluence and you can use it. Then the next thing is very important, that is ServiceNow. So ServiceNow, not every DevOps engineer might require, or not every DevOps engineer might need to have, I mean, may need to have idea on this one. But in some DevOps engineers roles, there is change management and incident management. So if you are typically working in a service-based organization, or you are working extensively with clients, or you have your application deployed on your platform, and client is using the services from your platform, not on AWS or any other places. In these cases, ServiceNow is very extensively used. So let us talk about these two aspects: what is change management and what is incident management. So if it is going top of your head, or if you feel it overwhelming, don't worry. Definitely you'll get acquainted with these tools once you start working in your organization, but you have to at least be familiar with these words. Somebody comes to you and talks to you about the change management, it shouldn't scare you. It should be like, okay, I at least know what is change management. Let's see what happens now. So change management is a process. Let's start with incident management instead. Okay, so incident management, in our previous classes, what I told you is monitoring is very key in DevOps roles. So let's take an example where you have deployed your application onto a production system. It can be EKS, or it can be your on-premise Kubernetes, or even on your production servers. So you have deployed it and your customer is using it. But one day what happened is, because of the unexpected loads or load on the application, or due to some kind of leak in the server, maybe your one of the applications is leaking a lot of memory. So because of any reason, your application is not that reliable, or your application is not working as expected. So what your monitoring system would do is, the main purpose of the monitoring system is observability. It would observe that, okay, there is one malfunction in the production system, let me throw an alert. So everybody knows till here, whoever has followed my videos, they must have understood till now that, okay, monitoring system has thrown the alerts. Now who is receiving these alerts, or who is acting upon these alerts, right? So these alerts basically have to be immediately responded, and your system has to be immediately fixed. So this entire process can be tracked as part of the incident management. Now after the alerts are thrown by your monitoring system, this incident management system, okay, what it has to do is, it has to create an incident saying that, okay, there is an alert that is thrown by your management monitoring system, and the specific sales team, sorry, the specific service provider team, or the specific support guys, they have to immediately look into this issue. And because this is a priority one issue, they have to fix it right away on the production system. So this entire thing has to be created as an incident, and it has to be assigned to a specific person. And that specific person, once he start working on it, he put some comment saying that, okay, I started working on it, this is the current status, finally the resolution is done, we made these changes and we have deployed this application onto production. So this entire things have to be maintained as an incident. So ServiceNow is a platform where you can create such incidents, or your monitoring system can be directly integrated with the ServiceNow APIs, where your monitoring system directly talks to the ServiceNow API, and it creates the incident on its own, and it assigns the ticket or the incident depending upon the kind of incident it is. Let's say it is a priority one and it is coming from a team called payments. So immediately it has idea of, okay, so because this is priority one and payments, let me assign it to some support guy belonging to this specific team. So this is how you integrate your monitoring system with your tools like ServiceNow for automating the incident management process. So you have to have good idea of this one. And the next thing is change management. Now what is change management? So change management is, again, like your incident has been identified, you created an incident in ServiceNow tool, or the monitoring system has created an incident in ServiceNow. It is assigned to a specific person. But once the specific person understands the root cause, and he goes ahead and wants to make changes to the system, okay, he wants to, like, okay, he understood that this is a change in the behavior, and now if I have to fix it, probably one application is leaking memory, so now I have to, okay, look into the thread dumps, understood what is the issue, and he says that I have to fix this specific part of the application. But on a production system, it's not that easy. Like, you cannot go and say that, okay, I made a change, and identified a change, now let me just modify it, and I'll ask customer to not do anything for the next 15 minutes, right? That's not possible. You cannot tell your customers that, okay, my system will go down in 15 minutes, don't work on it. So it has to go through a process. So this process is called as change management, where you create a service now ticket. You identify the list of vendors, or you identify list of teams who can work on this production system change. Like there has to be a team who has to work on stopping the servers, gracefully shutting down the servers. Finally, there has to be a team who have to start the server. There has to be one team who has access to the production system, deploys the application onto the production system. It can be a CI tool as well, but I'm just generally telling you, okay? And then there has to be a system who has to monitor or let the customers know that, okay, please expect a downtime during this specific, because of we are performing some application deployment. Or if your system is completely automated, you have blue green deployment model or any other system, then you have to activate that blue green deployment model, or canary model of deployment during that time. So all of these things should be automated and tracked as part of the change management. So that's why you should just read about ServiceNow. You will understand about all of the things that I just mentioned. Then finally, read the docs. So read the docs I put here because of the open source projects. So there can be some open source projects, and if you are using an open source project, on a contrary, you will not use Confluence or SharePoint because they are licensed tools. For now, you can get a 30 days, 90 days free trial license. But end of the day, if you are working on an open source project, you'll not be interested in using any commercial or licensed products. Instead, you would go for an open source product. So read the docs is one such. So you can compare it as a Confluence and SharePoint, but open source version of it. And definitely it's not rich in features when you compare it with SharePoint or Confluence. SharePoint and Confluence have a lot of more integrations. It works very smoothly with multiple people in your organization, whereas Read the Docs is just a static website hosting platform where you can just host your static website which contains all the documentation regarding your product. But Read the Docs has a very good integration with GitHub. So whenever users commit their MD file changes or documentation changes in GitHub, you can directly automate the CI process to deploy the changes automatically to Read the Docs. So yeah, it's an open source platform, and it plays very well with the open source tools. Then Git and GitHub. So why did I put Git and GitHub in the project management? Somebody might think, okay, what is the comparison or relation between Git and GitHub on the project management topic that we are doing today? So many open source projects, instead of using JIRA, what they do is they either use this GitHub, or even some people these days who are following the Azure DevOps. So they are using Azure boards. So all of these things are very similar. Like you can use JIRA or Azure boards or GitHub. So all of them are again tools that implements project management. Even in GitHub, you can do it. Like you can go to projects tab, you can create multiple tickets, and you can track the life cycle of the tickets. Is it in to-do state? Is it in progress? Or is it in ready to review state? Is it done? All the comments that you want to put, your managers want to track your work. So you can also do the same thing in GitHub or Azure boards as well. So that's one of the reasons, if you're going for an open source project, it's most likely that you can track all of your work on GitHub as well. You can look into Kubernetes or any other open source platform and see how they are tracking their project, what are they going to do in the next release cycle. Everything will be part of the GitHub project section, or on the GitHub organization in the project section. So this is the video for today, where I wanted to cover all of these tools and let you know that, okay, apart from your technical theory concepts and practical project implementation, also just try to spend some time here and understand the concept of project management. If you feel that you are not able to understand any specific topic here, do let me know in the comment section. I'll try to make a full detailed video where I'll try to cover, let's say you're not able to understand the uh, JIRA tool, or in general Agile process. I cannot make the complete videos on Agile, but at least I'll try to cover a few things on Agile. Or I also can do one thing, like if you people are really interested, I can involve a person who can talk about the Agile methodology and JIRA, how to track the work on JIRA, how exactly the process of Agile works and everything. So yeah, so we can do all of these things, but do let me know in the comment section, share me your feedback, and then we can decide our next class accordingly. So tomorrow's class, I'll wait for your comment section. I'll see what is the thing that you are expecting, and if you feel that we have to extend this topic and you want to understand anything in specific here, then yeah, definitely I'll introduce one more class for project management. I hope you like this video. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, click on the like button. If you want to share it with your friends or colleagues, I'll be more than happy then. I'll be more than happy with that. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.